we'll have to keep tabs on how that goes forward. Adam, we do need to get to the news and notes on the podcast, though. The Listener League is at 10K. We have to keep filling this thing.
Yeah, I mean, don't embarrass us and let it overlay. I know there's not as much excitement as there was last week when it was 10K for the first time, but this is still a 10K entry rake free tournament with a 50K prize pool with 3 entry max. It is undoubtedly the best tournament on DraftKings. Flat payout, 24% of the field will at least double their money. If you're practicing game selection, which I talk about every week on the solo pod, if you're practicing any semblance of game selection, you have to be playing in this tournament. So the way you get in is you just find the landing page for this podcast. It's on DK Playbook. You can find it through mobile. You can find it through Google. You can find it through the desktop. Just go to DK Playbook, find the landing page. The link is on there. It's very easy. You can go to the man's video for more instructions on how to get into the podcast.
Yeah, have a stool sample ready.
A retina scan.
Make sure you click on all the fire hydrants too.
Adam Humphries, I busted Al's balls about Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries is obviously a really, really good play last week, will be again this week. I just think from a ceiling perspective, and that's where I went with the condom analogy. From a ceiling perspective, where's the most upside? If you like to live dangerously and go with a no condom strategy, that's Chris Godwin. If you want to go with the safe play, the 4 condom strategy, Al, which Al decided to go with last week, that was Adam Humphries.
Yeah, so Chris Raw Dog Godwin, if you really want to go with him, is fine.
Al, are you proud of Adam for using routes instead of routes?
Like 5 times, dude.
He did it over and over again.
Well done.
The problem is, I wanted to say routes, but once I said routes the first time, I don't want to flip-flop. But according
you
to
want to go routes and then routes? You don't want to say...
Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but I just want to let the people know, according to Oxford, who is the foremost authority on language in civilization, you can say either one.
Okay, well, what does Webster have to say? Because I'm sure there might be a conflicting view here. Can we consult Mr. Webster and his dictionary?
I ride or die with Oxford.
Oxford's the cash game play for you? But 70.8% to be completed to tight ends. If you had to pick between Tyreek Hill on the outside or Travis Kelce on the inside, and you wanted to stack one of those guys with Mahomes, I'm going to go with Kelce to Mahomes. But really, the bottom line is, I don't care who the defense is. Do not fade the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Wow. Defense doesn't matter, Al?
Defense doesn't matter.
That was nice. Nice little prop there. I mean, Mahomes is ridiculous. It was tilting last week that he missed Tyreek Hill. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but I believe 5 times.
One
where it was like
right
a wide open touchdown. I didn't even get to do Ty Freak, CC Adam Levitan. It was tilting just all get out.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't get to tweet and you spend 9,100 for 6 targets. Good game.
Why didn't you do Ty Fluke, CC, and go after me? I could use the nice.
No, he was too busy subtweeting me.
I take the high road on the Tyreek stuff because it's so likely. Like this week, I think is a great week to play Tyreek because recency bias, his price is down, his ownership will be down. Like matchup is obviously difficult. Like this would be like playing Tyreek 9,100. I talked about the solo pod, but 9,100 at 20%, I think is pretty egregious. Now he will be 8K at like 10%. It's just totally different.
I would appreciate 10%. I think he'll just be 15 to 20 every single week because of that offense.
Maybe. Yeah, you might be right. I got to go through it closer, but yeah, you might be right.
Adam, in the future, please just directly tweet at me. I could use the following bump for the kids. So thank you for that. The Eagles find a way to get the ball to Ertz, and he's I think he's going to go down as one of the best tight ends. But
well, God leads the ball to Ertz through the Bible narrative, bud. Don't you know?
Don't discount the chemistry that Ertz and Wentz have. Did you see, by the way, Nelson Aguilar, they were praying and Nelson Aguilar was dancing around?
Yeah. Also, in the man's video, he talked about the Bible narrative. He said like Book of Galatians or something like that.
I'm with you, Al. I think Ebron's way too cheap. Tried to get a little sneaky in our 4-man by going to Lacoste. That was a pretty big mistake. Fading Ebron.
Professional DFS player CSU Ram 88 playing Lacoste over Ebron at 4,200. He has games posted to 10K. How are you not selling those? You play Lacoste. Is this a ploy? You play Lacoste over Ebron so that you sell more action the next week? Is
it's
that a
advertising.
Play?
It's why I used to show a massive bluff in the first level of every tournament that I ever play. It's like, well, I didn't have it. And then they just think you never have it the rest of the year. Pete's going to be just raking it in weeks 14 through the end of the divisional round.
I need to do something. I did have a ton of Ebron across the industry. I'll tell you that. He was in the majority of my cash games, but wow, what a big mistake that was. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, if you like Aaron Jones, I don't think he'll be that owned based on how bad he boned everybody last week. And maybe it was a McCarthy thing.
Well, it wasn't him, though. He did well when he was in.
No,
it was a usage issue.
I got you, but have you seen Joe Philbin? Like, are we sure that he's not going to play Jamal Williams too? Like,
I mean, that's always the problem with coaching changes mid-season is that, like, we think we know what should happen, but, like, we don't know who these coaches are and what they're going to do. But we have seen Philbin on Hard Knocks at least.
Yeah. What about the flow chart with the running backs versus this Falcons defense?
What I'm saying.
I don't think we need to pull down the flow chart. Come on, Adam.
And then also, Al, something nobody's talking about this week. I mean, Nick Chubb is so likely to get 20 carries. And has seen a little bit of a bump in the past games. So I think Nick Chubb is at least interesting as well on the other side.
I mean, we'll have to go to Pete for all the Chubb information.
I do love Chubb.
I don't care. We're done. Anyway.
Chris McCaffrey, I mean, would you guys have thought we'd see a point where he's 500 more than Todd Gurley? I mean, you go back and look at Todd Gurley's game log. I mean, his worst performance in like the first 7 or 8 weeks was 25.6 DK points, was consistently over 30. And we had some concerns about Christian McCaffrey. Now the volume's been there, and this is clearly a better matchup. But, man, 500 more than Todd Gurley gives me a little bit of pause.
And before I go there, I should know professional DFS player Peter Jennings. Todd Gurley is not on this slate, so we don't have to worry about it.
I have him up here in my freaking happy Thursday through Monday slate. Oh.
Anyways, yeah. The thing for me
has that happened this year yet? I've done that historically quite a bit, but have I done it this year?
No, I mean, I've messed up and talked about guys playing at home when they're actually playing in London a bunch. So yeah, it is what it is.
They are the home team though when they're playing in London.
On the Thursday through Monday slate, since that's so relevant, what do you think about Christian McCaffrey versus Todd?
For all 200 of you who are playing the Thursday through Monday slate.
Exactly. Or, what we've seen in the past too is, Austin Eckler go off in the second half. These gadget guys. I'm with you on Keenan Allen, though. I'll prioritize him in cash. Just too big of a role, too cheap. I think Jackson's interesting. I think Eckler's interesting. Surprised you didn't reference Tyrell the Gazelle, Al.
I mean, he seems to be a 3-legged gazelle right now. It's kind of.
Why don't you? Maybe we can't. Maybe we can't.
Why don't you invite him over for dinner? And,
that's what I was going to say.
What? Like, give him some Tylenol, pour some tussin on it? What do you want me to do?
Give him a nice home cooked meal. Get him
I could do that.
Show him the gift.
The invite is out. Look, Terrell, if you want to come over to our house for dinner, you're invited. Come over for dinner sometime this week. My wife's a tremendous cook. We'll have maybe some fajitas, and maybe that'll help heal your injury problems.
What I was going to say is you get your old friend Tyrell on the horn and you ask him what the running back share is going to be between Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson.
There you go.
All right. So, Adam, I asked you a direct question about Amari Cooper. You didn't answer. You also didn't include Kamara in those running backs. Two questions now that I hope you can answer. Amari Cooper take, and second, is Kamara, in consideration for your lineup?
Here we go again with the lineup. I've already said too much about the freaking lineup. Adam. I've already said too much about construction. I'll give an Amari take. He's a talented player in an awesome matchup. The Eagles continue to trot out guys off the street in the secondary. From that perspective, yeah, I think his ownership will be up. And as Al has talked about many times, like when Amari Cooper's ownership is up, it's probably time to not be on him in tournaments. And yeah, I'm not sure that he fits Like, I prefer T.Y. Hilton than Keenan Allen in that same price range as Amari Cooper.
But if you're going to lock button him, Pete, we just got new sheets in the guest room. So, you know, you can lock button him if you like. Yeah.
That's what I was hoping to get some sort of joke like that from Adam, but he gives a real take after ignoring my question. All right. Well, we can go to Adam's favorite segment, the conviction plays. Adam, why don't you give at least one? Maybe you give out a full roster of conviction plays.
Just give your lineup to people already.
And then I'll toss it to Al.
I'm going to give you guys a trifecta this week for the conviction play. I'm going with the triple Lindy. It's difficult to pull off, but I think that you can do it. Give me Christian McCaffrey to Ezekiel Elliott to Travis Kelce. And I want to find a way to fit that trifecta into one lineup. You know why? Because sometimes you just have to play all the dudes. So for Adam and for Pete.
He's giving 33% of the lineup out.
For Adam and for Pete. And for producer Luke and Jerry's cute little fuzzy butt sitting on the couch behind him. I'm out. Bye, everybody.